What's going on, guys? It's Justin from Turn Informed, and I got a treat for you today. We're actually going to go through an in-depth walkthrough of Android L. Google announced this at Google I/O a couple of weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, and ever since then I installed the Android L developer beta onto my Nexus 5, and I've been using this as my daily driver. The first thing we're going to do, as you guys can tell, the boot screen is a lot different than just those flashing four different colored icons popping up. And when the OS gets done actually booting up, you will see Android, like that, appear across the screen. That's pretty neat. It's pretty much telling you that your OS is ready. And as you can see, the widget is already ready for you too. So that's a pretty neat feature, knowing that you don't have to wait for the lock screen to boot up and all the widgets to show up on your screen. So that's a pretty neat thing to have on your screen. The first thing you're going to notice is these notifications pop up. It's a pretty cool thing to have, and this is new to Android, where your notifications show up on your lock screen. Before, there was no notifications, not even in anything except in the status bar that would pop up across here for Android phones. But now having this on the lock screen, along with the notification LED going off, this is a nice little feature to have. You can swipe it to let it go away, or you can double tap on the notification to boot into the app that has that notification. So that's a pretty cool feature to have. The thing is, though, there is a lot of notifications that will pop up, and it's actually easy to scroll through them. You just scroll up and down through them. But one other thing that's kind of annoyed me is that constant notifications that are in your status bar, like Battery Widget Reborn, which is one of my favorite apps, will stay in this lock screen and not go away. Now that's not really useful, especially when I want to just have the lock screen pop up and no notifications, and I just want to see my battery symbol up at the top from Battery Widget Reborn. I don't want to have it down here. So if there was a way to get rid of constant notifications and just pick certain apps that you want to be available in here, that would be great. But until they really fix that, that's a downer for me. So if we scroll left, we will actually boot into the phone. And if we scroll right, we will actually boot into the camera. Pretty cool things. And my favorite little thing of this is the unlocking. The unlocking is just you scroll up and then you're in your phone. That is pretty neat. Reminds me of kind of like a Sense kind of unlock, which has always been my favorite lock screen. If we scroll down, you can see that there are notifications that just show up as white bars across it. It's neat because it makes the notifications stand out and kind of have their own stance on your status bar. So if we scroll down again, we actually have our brightness control, which is pretty neat. You don't have to press settings, the quick settings, and then status bar to get it to boot into the settings. You just scroll down twice, and then you have your quick settings and then your brightness toggle. Another cool thing is it's quick tap. You don't have to hold down on the icon in order to toggle the setting. It's just a quick press and you're good to go. And if you press the font, it actually boots into the settings part of that. So that's pretty cool. The cast screen, everybody's been saying, oh, that's new. I saw that on Android 4.4.3. So I don't know why people keep on saying that's new. That's an old feature. One thing though that has bothered me is that the battery is actually gone. So the battery symbol that was in quick settings before is actually disappeared, and you are stuck with having to go to settings and then scrolling down to battery to see how much battery you had left. Now, that's slightly annoying, especially if I can't have Battery Widget Reborn on there. So let's get into this. So if you guys haven't noticed, there are 3 new navigation buttons. So the farthest navigation button is a triangle, that's the back button, the circle is the home button, and the square is obviously the recent apps button. I like them, I think they're good looking, but I think they're a little small. If they could really improve upon the size of them, I think that would be great. If you guys can tell, the app drawer icon has actually changed. It's actually a white background, no longer a clear background. And then the animations have changed quite a bit. So if I click on an app and then the animation comes up, it's actually a slide up. It's a very smooth transition. This is what Google is calling material design. Now, material design is Google's overlay of Android OS. So basically what it is there's a back to everything, there's an overlay to everything, which I think is really, really cool. It makes it feel more fluid and nice when you're going through your Android phone. There's a lot of shadows and a lot of little things that just pop up. There's a lot of things that just kind of move fluid with the phone, and we'll go through those as I get into it. If we get into the phone, as you guys can see, it's a new setup. The dialer overlays on the top right there, and it's very smooth. The colors are different, all the accents are different, and the contacts is very nice, and it's very quick. As you can tell, everybody has icons, and they're all different. Everybody has a picture, a little circular picture next to them, and it's pretty neat. It's nice looking, it's quick to go through. If you want to just dial, that dialer just sits there when you scroll through all of these, and if you just want to get into it, you just get into it. And as you can tell, it has that little animation every time you type a number in. What has also changed is the calculator. So the calculator has a new design too. Obviously it has blue and green accents with a gray on the buttons, and also a white background where the numbers will pop up. So it's pretty nice to have, and then the slide over is pretty nice too. You don't have to press the menu button and then advanced to get into the advanced calculator. You just slide over and then you got your advanced calculator right there. So that's pretty neat to have too. And one more thing that we should really get into is the keyboard. The keyboard has changed. So we no longer have separation of buttons, it's just a slab with numbers on it. Like I said, everything on Android L has been a lot smoother. And one more big thing on the apps is the settings. So as you guys can tell, the settings have changed a lot. Not what's in them, but how they look. It's a white background with green icons and black letters. It stands out a lot more than it did before. It doesn't seem as boring. So I think it's a cool little feature. And as you can tell, when I scroll down, it has that little wave that kind of pops up on the top of it. It also shows up on the bottom as well. So this is recent apps. The recent apps are no longer just a simple scroll down of icons. It's actually layer by layer of what apps are open. And Google said eventually they will put the Chrome tabs to actually show up in with this, so you're no longer just looking at there's Chrome, hey, there's phone. You will actually have all your Chrome tabs show up with your recent apps, which is pretty neat, and that'll be useful to have when you're scrolling through a bunch of information all at once. I don't think it's as fluid when I'm Xing out of recent apps. I think it's slow at times, and I've actually seen it flicker a couple times. But overall, it's a cool little design to it. I think it's cool. It will catch on pretty fast. Let's get into what is actually the problem right now and things that are wrong with Android L. So the first thing that I'll point out is Twitter is hit or miss with this. Twitter does not work all the time, so I had to install Plume to be my main Twitter app, which I liked Plume before anyway, but it's unfortunate that a lot of apps don't work right on this phone. The Google Now Launcher, the stock one that actually comes with this version of Android, actually crashes quite a bit, and it will do reboots every time I exit out of certain apps, especially Facebook. The Google Now Launcher will crash, and it will reboot automatically. So in-app pictures, so certain apps that require you to take in-app pictures do not always work. So certain apps, when I'm trying to take a picture, if I want to take a picture to add to a status of a certain app, it will crash the camera app and the camera app will not work. So that's one thing. That's another problem with this version of Android, and that's mainly because the apps are not set up for this version of Android, so that's understandable. I will report though that Instagram does work fine, so you guys don't need to get that fixed. Certain apps I have do not function 100% correctly on this version of Android when they render. So if we click on comments right here, you'll notice that there is no white background or anything to them. It's just clear, and you can't really see the information on these comments that well. So that's something that's kind of annoying and unfortunate when you're really trying to read everybody else's comments on a Facebook post. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. That was my walkthrough of Android L. As far as what I believe right now, I don't think this version of Android is fully set up for anyone else to use it. I'm actually going to, after this video is done, I'm actually going to convert back to Android 4.4.3 and be using that as my daily driver OS for my Nexus 5. So I'd wait until the official release of this, where things are more stable and your apps aren't crashing all the time. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Click that like button. If you guys want to subscribe and see more videos like this, click that subscribe button. And I'll leave you out with the power off animation that has actually changed. Alright guys, I'll catch you next time. Later.